Hello everyone, good evening. My name is Madhav. I welcome you all on Testbook Super Coaching Regulatory Bodies YouTube channel. आज का जो हमारा टॉपिक है that is Integrated Ombudsman. Before I start the discussion on this particular topic, एक चीज मैं आप सबको बताना चाहूँगा which is really very important. Whenever we talk about finance and if you are preparing for regulatory bodies, finance is going to play a really very important role in phase 1, phase 2 as well as interview. For whatever exam you are talking about, maybe it's SEBI, NABARD, SEBI, RBI, any examination. What we have done at Testbook, we have started with a series. I call it as Basics of Finance series, where I'm discussing all the important areas of finance, not the theoretical part, which is easily available on different platforms, different books. I have picked all those important concepts which are generally remain unanswered for a student who is preparing for this exam. And until and unless you get the answers of these important questions, concepts, and I would say the basic areas, it will be really very difficult for you to prepare and clear this examination. Keeping this point in mind, let's begin this discussion for a new session, and today's session is dedicated to a term that is Integrated Ombudsman. Before I start my discussion with the Integrated Ombudsman, I would love to discuss the term Ombudsman. What basically Ombudsman means? Ombudsman, as the name suggests, it's an office or it's an official, I would say it's an office and an individual as well. I'll make this point clear. Ombudsman is basically the one who is responsible to hear the public complaints against the different financial organizations which are operating in the country. And after hearing to the complaint, they get into the investigation, and after the investigation, they take the final decision. Generally, if you have any issue related to any financial organization, for that reason, let's take an example, bank, or maybe an NBFC, or maybe a digital transaction provider, for example, PhonePe, then you can register your complaints with the Ombudsman. Earlier, the things were pretty different. Earlier, we had 3 different ombudsmen for different organizations. We had banking ombudsman responsible only and only to counter as well as receive the complaints against the banks. Then we had a ombudsman for NBFC, we had an ombudsman for digital transactions. Later on, government and RBI, they took a point, or they took a decision to why not combine all these 3 different ombudsmen into a single form, that is Integrated Ombudsman, where all the different complaints related to the financial sector, or I would say to be very specific, all the complaints related to the financial organizations which are regulated by RBI, Integrated Ombudsman will be responsible to take those complaints, to investigate the complaint, and then give the final decision. Let's discuss. The first one is, what is Integrated Ombudsman? So Integrated Ombudsman, as it is very clearly mentioned, it was launched by RBI, and it was launched by RBI to simplify the process of registering your complaint and getting the final solution, or I would say rectify the complaint against the different organizations, plus which are regulated by RBI. All those entities which are regulated by RBI. It will amalgamate 3 existing ombudsman scheme, which I have already said that the 3 existing ombudsman scheme has been merged into one. And remember that it's a cost-free platform where the customers, they can register their complaints and they can get their solutions accordingly. Now the question is, what was the theme behind introducing this particular Integrated Ombudsman Scheme? So the theme was One Nation, One Ombudsman. The way we have One Nation, One Tax, in a similar manner, One Nation, One Ombudsman approach was need to be implemented by RBI, because of which RBI has set up Integrated Ombudsman by combining 3 different ombudsman schemes. One is Banking Ombudsman Scheme, other one is Ombudsman for NBFC Scheme or Scheme for NBFC Ombudsman, and Scheme for digital transaction ombudsman. So all these three schemes which were set up at different time intervals, they were merged into one, and a single ombudsman has been introduced, which is termed as Integrated Ombudsman Scheme. Now, what is the another difference? This is really very important to understand. Guys, earlier, if we talk about, let's start with the banking ombudsman. I'll give you the entire picture first, then I'll come back to this particular point. I'll add a slide for my benefit itself. So, okay. Please pay attention. You are going to enjoy this for sure. I'm giving you a story where we'll understand the working of ombudsman. Let's say there is an individual named Madhav. Okay. There's an individual named Madhav. Madhav is holding his bank account with SBI, and he approached to the SBI ATM. You have account in SBI, you approach to SBI. I approached to SBI, inserted my ATM and wanted to withdraw cash. So I entered 10,000 rupees. I entered my PIN. My transaction was complete, but unfortunately 10,000 was not dispensed from the machine, and it happens. You might have heard about this. So the moment this situation happened with me, I was very nervous. One of my friend, he called me and said, nothing to worry, Madhav, there is a procedure to follow. I said, what is the procedure? Can you help me with that? He replied. He said, whenever you have any complaint against a bank, your first step is you must approach to the bank itself. So I will approach to State Bank of India, the bank with which I have a complaint, and I will be registering my complaint. I will register my complaint. The moment I register my complaint, for obviously that complaint should be in written form. Complaint should be in written form, and the moment you submit the complaint, you must get the letter number, and this number is basically the point that yes, your complaint has been received. Even you can email your complaint. Now, once you have registered your complaint with the concerned bank, what will happen next? Sir, the next part involves three things. First part is you get the solution. Your complaint is accepted. You get the solution and 10,000 rupees is credited into your account. Fine. Second is your complaint is accepted. Your complaint is accepted, and once they have accepted your complaint, they say that sorry sir, we have received your complaint, but as per our data, as per our ATM data, no amount was punched, or the amount you have punched, that was dispensed from the machine, so we cannot do anything. So I can say that they have rejected my complaint. They say we cannot do anything. There was no fund withdrawn or anything like that. Third is they have given me no reply. Now, if they have given me no reply, then after 30 days, bare minimum how many days I will wait? So I will wait for 30 days. Days will count from here. Day 1, I have registered my complaint, and if after 30 days or up to 30 days I have not received any reply, then in that case, or my complaint is rejected, in this case again I can register my complaint to the banking ombudsman. Now, how can I register my complaint to the banking ombudsman? So in this case, I can write an email directly, or even I can reach to the banking ombudsman office, which is near to me, or I would say the banking ombudsman office in which the particular bank branch falls where I have my complaint or where I have registered my complaint. Now, first is you can write a mail, or you will be going by hand, or you will be going yourself physically, and by hand you will be depositing your complaint letter to the banking ombudsman office. Once you have registered your complaint will be transferred to the nearest your complaint will be transferred. For your understanding, I'm using this word nearest, that is not correct, but it will be transferred to the nearest banking ombudsman where your complaint is going to be resolved. Where your complaint is going to be resolved. Once your complaint has been received by the banking ombudsman, then banking ombudsman will do what? So banking ombudsman will carry out its investigation, and the moment investigation is completed, banking ombudsman will announce the rewards, or banking ombudsman will announce the awards. Generally, banking ombudsman come to a decision within 45 days or before that, and once banking ombudsman will come to the decision, then in that particular case you will be eligible in the form the bank which is at guilty, bank will be responsible to pay the penalty, and this penalty will become award to the customer. So for Madhav, it is going to be a award. What will be the penalty value, or what will be the award value? So that will be either equal to complaint amount, either equals to complaint amount, or up to 20 lakh rupees. Now let's say, sir, if my complaint value is above 20 lakhs, then in that particular case, banking ombudsman will not accept your complaint, and banking ombudsman will ask you to raise your complaint on a different platform, on a different mode. That could be consumer court, for your understanding, for the time being. But if you are going to consumer court, it is different from banking ombudsman, where you need to pay. First of all, you will be hiring an advocate who will be raising your complaint. You will be paying the application fees, then only your complaint will be registered. That is a difference. So one thing is this. Secondly, you can even ask the ombudsman that I have been mentally harassed. So for my mental harassment, as well as for all the other harassments which I have faced, banking ombudsman can give you an extra compensation of up to 1 lakh rupees. This is how the ombudsman practically work. So the first difference in integrated ombudsman is you can register your complaint online, and in that case, whichever ombudsman all around the country is free, that will be responsible, or free means they have low, or they have less work, or I would say they have less pending cases going on, they have less things to do, then in that particular case they will be asked to handle your complaint. So this is how the banking ombudsman entirely works. But you must reach to banking ombudsman within 1 year, and you can reach to banking ombudsman only if your complaint is rejected by the bank or no reply has been given for 30 days. Then after 30 days you can reach to the banking ombudsman. This is how the banking ombudsman entire structure works. But now all the three different banking ombudsmen have been merged into one. First one, we have banking ombudsman scheme for NBFC, and ombudsman scheme for digital transactions. They have been merged into one. Remember that RBI has set up the banking ombudsman under the Banking Regulation Act 1949, ombudsman scheme for NBFC under the RBI Act 1934, and ombudsman scheme for digital transaction under the Payment and Settlement System Act 2007. Now we have the regulatory authority. Earlier, the regulatory authority means if you are not satisfied with the banking ombudsman decision, then you can challenge the banking ombudsman decision in front of deputy governor. But now the role of deputy governor has been removed. Deputy governor is no more the appellate authority. If you do not agree, or if you do not accept the banking ombudsman decision, then in that particular case, you can go to the principal nodal officer in the rank of general manager in a public sector bank or equivalent, will look after the regulated entity, and they will be looking forward. So remember that the executive director in charge is going to be the appellate authority under the Integrated Ombudsman Scheme, which was earlier Deputy Governor. So Executive Director in charge of Consumer Education and Protection Department of RBI will be the appellate authority, where you can challenge the decision of Banking Ombudsman as well. So the grievances can be redressed, as I already discussed. If you are not satisfied with the solution given, or your complaint is rejected, or no reply is given for 30 days, then you can reach to the Integrated Ombudsman for complaint against bank. complaint against NBFCs or complaint against prepaid instrument players or even the non-scheduled primary cooperative banks with a deposit size of 50 crore and above. Got it? Now, features of Integrated Ombudsman Scheme include it is launched for the customers to file their complaints, submit the documents, track the status as well as they get the feedback. There is a multilingual toll-free number. You can call that number and try to understand how you can register your complaint, and by calling on that number you will get all the details which you must follow so that you can easily register your complaint. So ground for filing a complaint, is clearly mentioned. All those grounds which are mentioned in the document, you can complain in those areas only. If those areas, and if you're complaining for any area which is not mentioned in that document, then you cannot raise your complaint. Complaints will no longer be rejected simply if not covered under the grounds listed in the scheme, and it is jurisdiction neutral where the entire decision will be taken. Most importantly, its centralized receipt and processing center has been set up in Chandigarh. So all the complaints to the Integrated Ombudsman will be reaching to a centralized receipt and processing center which is at Chandigarh. From Chandigarh, it will be distributed to the relevant Ombudsman office. If the nearest one is available, then fine. Otherwise, the other nearest Ombudsman will be assigned who is going to look into your complaint and take the relevant decisions. Remember that regulated entity will not have any right. That means banks, NBFCs, they have no right to appeal in cases where an award is issued. In that particular case, I would say as a customer, you can challenge ombudsman decision, but as a bank, NBFC or any other digital transaction or digital payment provider, you cannot challenge the banking ombudsman decision unlike a customer. So what was the need of this integrated ombudsman? Sir, earlier they were very difficult to understand कि मेरी कंप्लेंट बैंक के अगेंस्ट है तो बैंकिंग ऑम्बुड्समैन पे जाऊं या कहां जाऊं. अब क्लियर है, अगर आपकी कंप्लेंट बैंकिंग ऑम्बुड्समैन पे है तो वहां जाइए, एनबीएफसी पे है तो वहां जाइए, किसी और पे है तो वहां जाइए. अब वो चीजें बिल्कुल क्लियरली मार्क कर दी गई हैं. जहां पर आपकी कंप्लेंट आरबीआई के रेगुलेटेड एंटिटी की अगेंस्ट है तो आपके पास एक ही प्लेटफॉर्म है, इंटीग्रेटेड ऑम्बुड्समैन. वहां जाइए और अपनी कंप्लेंट को रजिस्टर कीजिए एंड यू विल बी गेटिंग द डिजायर्ड सॉल्यूशन. Okay, is it clear? Now, the last part which I would like to discuss over here is, sir, recently, not recently, अब तो recently नहीं कहूँगा, काफी time हो गया, but yes, along with bank, NBFCs as well as the digital payment service providers, now CIC, that is credit information companies which are also regulated by RBI. If you have any complaint against these credit information companies like SEBI and all, you can register your complaint at the same platform, that is Integrated Banking Ombudsman. So I hope the term Integrated Banking Ombudsman is clear to you. If you want to clear more your doubts related to the finance part where you can clear this examination in the very first attempt, then I would say you must join our RBI Grade B 2025 Lakshya batch where I will be discussing all these topics in much more detail. And if you want to buy this batch, you want to subscribe yourself to this particular batch and that too at a very low price, what you can do is you can just use my code MADHAV. The moment you will use this code, you will get this particular subscription, this batch at a very low price so that you can assure your selection for upcoming examination. You can join with me on my Telegram channel which is by the handle @Madhav, and the moment you will join with me, you can raise all your doubts, you can get personal guidance, you can get free MCQs, free sample answers for your descriptive questions on my platform itself. So that will be all from my side, guys. We'll catch you in the next session. Till then, stay tuned and stay connected with me so that you get all the updates of my sessions on this Telegram channel itself. Thank you so much. Good luck. God bless you all.